Hello and welcome to Season 3 of Disney Travel Tales. You are listening to episode number 27. This is a space where you can escape the real world and immerse yourself in someone's recent Disney trip. I'm Jenny, and today I'm talking with Sarah about her trip to Disney World with her husband, 2 kids, and her parents back in December of 2021. Sarah is an agent with Trolley Lane Travel, and after hearing her amazing vacation story, I'm thinking you might want to contact her to have her help you plan your next magical vacation. See the show notes for her contact info. This show is sponsored by Trolley Lane Travel. I'm sure if you're listening to this podcast, you are a Disney park lover. I have a question for you. Have you ever used a travel agent who specializes in Disney to help plan your vacation? If not, then you have no idea what you're missing. First off, their services are completely complimentary to you. Their commissions are paid by Disney. Also, you can help plan as much or as little as you want. Let them do the hard job of hunting down quotes, getting those hard-to-get dining reservations, or sitting on hold with Disney forever to update your account if a new special comes out. You can be left with all the fun parts of vacation planning. Becky and her agents are experts on Disney travel, and their goal is to make sure you will have the most magical vacation possible. Visit them at trolleylanetravel.com and go to their Request a Quote page to get your magical vacation started. Okay, so let's get going. Imagine yourself walking around your bucket list resort. Mine is the Polynesian, and let's go. Hi, Sarah. Thanks so much for coming on the show today.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Okay, so why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and your experience with Disney vacations?
So I am like a lifelong Disney. I'm that person that went as a little kid and just wanted to go every year. And that was kind of our family trip. So it has morphed into I am now projecting that onto my children, and in the same breath helping other people by, getting involved in planning trips and helping out. And I just love it. I've probably been in the grand scheme of things, not as much as other people, but probably 15 or 20 times, and I'm 30, so yeah.
That's awesome.
I love it.
That's so cool. Yes, I love that. There are people, my husband met someone, and she's been 100 times, and granted, she's older, but I was like, I can't even, that's amazing.
Yes. I'm very envious.
Yeah.
For multiple reasons. But I think it's great.
So cool.
It's always changing, so you're always going to have a different experience every trip anyway.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I don't think people realize that the parks are always changing, so it's not if you go all the time, it won't change as much.
Those cast members. Even just your interaction with a different cast member every day is going to make your trip different, so it's awesome.
That's for sure. Okay, so what were the dates of your trip, and who did you travel with?
So we went December 13th through the 17th of 2021, and it was myself, my husband, my 5-year-old, my almost 3-year-old, and then my parents. And it was something.
That's awesome. That sounds so great. And how did y'all get there?
So we have always driven from New Orleans. We typically drive. We've got a house in St. Augustine, which is an hour and a half, 2 hours from Orlando. So we just drive. We usually stay the night before and then get up for first thing the next morning and drive down. It's great. It's easy.
So
it's easy to do it a lot.
Yeah. How long is the drive total?
Total about 8.5 hours, because we did drive straight from Orlando back home. Mm-hmm. So it was about 8.5 hours.
That's not bad at all.
I don't think it's bad. I know some people are not going to happen, or they really need to break it up in half, but it's really not terrible.
I'm in the middle of Texas, and so just to get out of Texas takes forever. So
yes.
An 8-hour drive is nothing.
It's getting to the Texas line is oh, I'm already here. And then getting from the line to Houston, and we've been in Texas forever.
Yeah. It takes forever to get out, and I'm right in the middle. So yeah, that's nothing, an 8-hour drive. Okay, so what resort did y'all stay at?
So we stayed at Animal Kingdom, and we did the club level. So we were in Jambo House and did a Savannah view, and it was great. It was such a fun experience. I had never stayed at Animal Kingdom before, and we actually originally were staying at Riviera and decided to switch last minute. And it was great. I mean, it is a huge property. I don't think I quite realized that when we were booking it. But it was fantastic. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, that's a bucket list resort of mine. I want to stay there so bad.
Yeah, I would. I've actually had a couple clients since then that want all the information on it. And I don't know why in my head we never did it before. But it was great. The kids loved it. I mean, just like little things that they had there. It was fantastic.
Oh, for sure. And what is club level exactly?
So club level is an extra little piece of magic Disney's thrown in there. It is an additional, a different type of stay for you. So if you're club level, there is a club within the resort. Your magic band, you scan it in the elevator, it brings you straight up there. Animal Kingdom is on the 6th floor. And it has a concierge. It's got food and drinks. Drinks are kind of like 24/7, whatever you want. Food, they will stagger it. So we did breakfast, lunch. They have a tea hour with little bites, and then a dessert for the evening. It's all included in your package price, which is great. It was super helpful, especially for breakfast, because getting kids up in the morning to go to a park, like that's a whole thing. And being able to just like quickly go upstairs and grab food was fantastic.
Yeah, that's so nice.
You know, if I decided in the middle of the day, I don't think I want to go to dinner at whatever reservation we have tonight, I could just call the concierge at Club Level and they're going to take care of it for me. And it was amazing.
That's so cool. I love that.
It was definitely worth it. My husband told me we could never go back. We have to have our new thing. It's Club Level from now on. So now he wants to try all of them.
Yeah.
Out of the parks. I'm like, I'll let you know about that.
Yeah. That sounds so great. So what type of room were y'all in?
So we were in a club. The club level also has specific rooms. I'm not 100%, I'm not 100% sure on this one, but I think that they do try and keep you closer to the club access so you're not trekking across the entire resort. But we had a Savannah view room, and when we booked, we put a travel number on our room and my parents' room, so we actually had a connecting room, which was great. And 2 queen beds, a shower, a tub, and a balcony that looked at zebras and giraffes and deer and pelicans, and it was really fun to wake up to and go to bed at night and see them.
That's amazing. It's like an escape from the craziness of the parks.
It felt very relaxing. Because I know, you have people who are just like, it's just a hotel, I'm just going to sleep. And then I'm like, well, yeah, but you've also had a very crazy day and a very full day. And I like staying at resorts that don't feel like Disney. Like, I love it, don't get me wrong. But, like, we stayed at Riviera at the beginning of the year, and it felt like an escape. I'm like, I went to the parks, and it was great, it was so much fun, but I liked coming back to my room and not feeling like I'm still in the parks.
Right, for sure.
And Animal Kingdom is, you just get transported, like you're in Africa, and it is amazing. They do a great job.
That's so cool. I love that. All right, so let's move on to your park days. So what did y'all do on your first park day?
So first park day, we drove in. We got to Epcot probably, I think the park opened around 10. And we probably got there at like 10:30, 10:45. And we just did Epcot from the second we got there until we left. And this was really the first trip for my 5-year-old where I think she was able to appreciate Epcot. So it was kind of cool to see, because in previous trips when we've gone, she's been smaller. So there's, she could do Soarin', she could do Test Track. And at that age, they didn't really care about the countries as much. So it's like hard to get them into everything Epcot has to offer. Mm-hmm. So this was our first year where she was like very into it, did the rides, wanted to like learn about the countries, and it was really fun. It was great.
That is fun when the kids can appreciate the countries a little bit. We kind of had a similar experience with my daughter. She was 8 when we went, and she wanted to stop at every like little gift shop, because the gift shops even teach you about the countries with the stuff they sell.
Even just the different toys.
Mm-hmm.
Seeing that, like, oh, well, that's what they play with in Japan, or that's what they play with in Norway. And it's like, she was finally, I think in another couple of years, she'll really be into it.
Uh-huh.
But it was fun. It's a great way for them to try even, like, new food.
Yeah.
Because when we do Epcot, we don't typically do, like, a bunch of dining reservations. We did a dinner this time, but typically I'm like, we're going to snack around the world, and you're going to try new foods, and it's going to be great. And that's kind of what we did until dinner time, and it was awesome. They tried new things, took bites. It was fun.
That's awesome. So I didn't mention earlier, but you had a park hopper ticket with Genie Plus. Did y'all use Genie Plus while you were at Epcot?
Oh my goodness. Yes, we did. Probably not as efficiently as it can be utilized. It was our first time going and getting it and trying it. We mostly used it on Test Track, and we did get into Remy's, the Ratatouille ride, in the virtual queue, and then we missed our chance. But it was a learning curve for sure, and getting to try, if I could go back in time, I would do it the same. I would start with Epcot, because I feel like that park is a little bit slower on the ride front. And so you can kind of play around a little bit more with Genie and not feel like you're not getting your money's worth out of it. But yeah, we definitely used it. We did Test Track with it, and did another one. I don't even remember. We did another ride, but we didn't use it as much, because I spent a lot of the time just staring at it, trying to figure it out.
Right.
But it was a good learning curve for the next day, for sure.
So when you used it for Test Track, how long, do you remember what like the standby line was and how long y'all waited?
I think the standby line was maybe 45 minutes, 55 minutes, which for Test Track is not terrible. Mm-hmm. But when we used it, we were on and off the ride in 20. So
that's awesome.
It was a nice, quick, and especially because her little brother couldn't ride it, so we were having to like distract, and the 20 minutes is super helpful. It didn't keep him as sad.
Yeah.
As long.
That seems like it would be worth it to have it for that alone.
Yeah. I definitely felt like I probably could have survived Epcot without it. But other parks, not so much. Mm-hmm. Other parks, it definitely was proved its worth, for sure.
So what were the crowds like today at Epcot?
Hey parents, do your kids listen to podcasts? Do they like solving mysteries and flexing their imaginations? Mysteries at Riddleton Elementary is a new children's mystery podcast. Your kid can join Billy Bonanza and Susie Sockington on exciting and wacky adventures as they attempt to solve mysteries around their school. Mysteries at Riddleton Elementary is available now on all podcast platforms.
I will say of our 4 park days, that was the busiest. It definitely, I told my husband, I said, because we went in January when it was still full on COVID protocols, like masks everywhere, including outside. And of course, he was like, I wish it was like this all the time, because there's nothing. There were no crowds, no line. It definitely felt more like your typical Disney park day. I will say that. Not in a bad way. Just in a, people are traveling, people are here, it's crowded.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think that, like I said, of the 4 days and of the 4 parks, it was the most crowded.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that we also, started our day a little bit later, since Epcot typically opens a little bit later.
Mm-hmm.
And, we're judging crowds, like, as we're leaving and everything like that. And I do think that after the 2 p.m. hopper, the park, Epcot especially, gets a little bit more crowded because everybody's trying to, like, drink around the world and get a cocktail and get dinner. And so I do think it gets busier. But yeah, it felt like a very standard Disney day. A pre-pandemic day.
Yeah. Oh, man. It's kind of like, it's good and bad because the busier it gets, that means the more things that are going to be available and open, but then it's also more crowds, longer lines for everything.
There is definitely like a love-hate with the crowds.
Yeah. So what other rides did y'all do while you were there?
We did Soarin', we did Living with the Land, which was very fun. I actually did it with my 2-year-old, and he's obsessed with being outside, so it was cool for him to see the outside but inside, and like show him things can grow inside, they don't have to be outside, and that was cool. We did Nemo, we did Spaceship Earth. My 5-year-old did Mission Space for the first time and loved it. Test Track. I think that was everything. We got in the virtual queue for Remy and missed it. And then Frozen, I missed the window to purchase with my Genie Plus. And the standby line was like 300 minutes. And then it was closed for a little bit. I got very lucky she forgot about it because that is her favorite ride up until now. So I got super lucky that she never thought to ask about it. But I think we rode pretty much everything. Because like I said, I think the beauty of Epcot is there aren't a ton of rides. I mean, in comparison to the other parks. And so you get to be a little bit more, like, it's a little bit easier to navigate around and get from ride to ride and get everything in without feeling like, oh, I really missed out on something, or we're out of time, the park's closing. So it was great.
I do have a question about Remy's because I haven't been back since it opened. So y'all did the virtual queue online, not the one where you purchase it?
Right.
And you have to go in that certain time or you miss out?
That was my understanding. My understanding was you get this window, you get a number, and you, within the app, it'll tell you like an estimated time that you're going to go back. And then it'll also give you an estimated time on how long, once you go back, how long the wait's going to be. So it gave me I got in group like 96 or something at the 1 o'clock queue. And it told me your estimated time to come back is 6:15, but we had 6:45 dinner reservations in Mexico, and the ride is in France. Like, we're clear across the world. And I kept hoping, like, well, maybe it'll get faster, and it'll call us back for, like, 6. And we could probably make it. Like, if we really went, we could probably make it. No, it just kept getting pushed back further and further. And then all of a sudden it was like, come back at 6:20 and you're going to have an estimated 30-minute wait. And I was like, well, then we're done because we have dinner. I have since learned that if you go back, like if that happens, I could have eaten dinner and then gone to Remy's and shown the cast member that I had a dinner reservation and ridden. Okay. I did not know that then. It would have been nice to know because I've heard it is such a cute ride, and I'm really sad we missed out on it, especially because we got in the virtual queue and I didn't have to pay for it. But next time, I know, and I'm able to tell other people, like, just go tell a cast member, show them that you had dinner, and they should let you right back on. Fingers,
Yeah. That's interesting. So you have to, so your arrival time for the ride can change.
Yes.
I didn't even think about that.
A little bit because I was just kind of like, it's probably not going to jump from like originally being 6:15 to like, oh, come at 5. But it did. It moved from like 6 to 6:20-ish based on like all the people before us and how many showed up for their queue. And So yeah, it was interesting to see, and the app, really did stay up to date and give you, okay, well, you're in this ride, so come, and you should wait for 30 minutes. So that was helpful. It just didn't work well for me at that time.
Well, that is such a bummer.
I know.
But it gives you a reason to go back.
It's so cute.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about your dinner reservation. Where did y'all eat at?
We ate at La Hacienda de San Angel in Mexico. We actually ate there when my husband graduated from medical school. We went to Disney, pre-kids, and we ate dinner there and had the world's best guacamole. And so I tell everyone, like, it makes me want to go back because the guacamole I had was phenomenal. It had like feta cheese and pomegranate seeds, and I was just I could eat it for days. They don't have it anymore.
Oh man.
But it's fine because it was delicious. And it used to be that you could, and you still can if you time it right. When we went, we actually went at the time for fireworks. So we got to eat and watch the fireworks because they're right on the water and it's all glass. And that was really fun. But this time we, with kids, ate earlier than the fireworks. But it was great. It was delicious. We got the 50th anniversary dessert, which was 10 out of 10. Would definitely recommend to anyone. Super fun, super delicious. Kids loved it. We loved it. It's a great restaurant.
Do you remember what y'all got for your entrees?
So I do remember my mom and I both got the flautas. They were great. My husband got, oh my gosh, I don't even remember now. I could go back and look at the menu and tell you. I think like a steak situation. And I think actually he and my dad got the same thing. Mm-hmm. We got my quesadillas and, of course, queso, because you can't go to a Mexican restaurant and not get queso.
Right.
And it was great. And then we all shared the anniversary dessert, which could feed 12 people.
That's awesome.
It was great.
Sounds so good. So what'd y'all do after dinner?
At that point, our kids were like donezo. We were getting, we're starting to sing at the top of our lungs and the whole thing.
Yeah.
So we did just kind of start to make our way out, and especially with the first day, and no naps. We just powered through. Tried to kind of beat the crowds a little bit for the bus and getting out of there. So we just kind of beelined it for the front gates. At that point, it was probably 7:30, 7:45. We tried really hard. We were going to really try and stick it out for the fireworks, but they weren't 9:45. You're never going to make it. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah, it's so late for the little ones. It's just too hard unless they nap.
I think that we would do 2 shows. If the park is going to stay open until 10 or 11, that's great. And you do want to send everyone off with a bang, but little kids are not going to stay. It's just not going to happen. So I do wish that they would do 2 shows, but I know that is a lot. Mm-hmm. It's a lot of money. It's a lot of time. It's a lot. But we did sneak back in the next day.
Oh, nice. Yes. Yeah, or at least just do the fireworks show earlier, and then if people want to stay late, they can. I mean...
Yeah, I think that would appeal to more people.
Mm-hmm, for sure.
Yeah. The 5-year-old and 3-year-old weren't going to hang until 10 o'clock to watch that.
So late. So when y'all got to Orlando, y'all went to your resort first, and then you rode a bus over to Epcot?
Yes.
Okay.
So as you can park at your resort, the day you check in, whether your room is ready or not. So we just parked there, actually gave our luggage to the bellman, and when we went to the front desk, which you don't actually have to do, but we went to the front desk, we actually had the concierge from the club level come down, bring us upstairs. They gave us mimosas and little chocolates for the kids, and then we headed off on a bus.
That's so fun. Oh, I love that. I want to do it now.
It was a nice little touch and a nice welcome.
Yeah. That's such a great way to be welcome to Disney.
Yes.
All right. So your second park day, where did y'all visit?
We went to Magic Kingdom in the morning, and then after lunch, we hopped to Animal Kingdom.
Okay.
I always say for my family and my clients, like, with little kids, Magic Kingdom is where the majority of their rides are going to be for smaller ages and sizes. That's just where you're going to find a lot of your rides. And I feel like it can be overwhelming to try and shove Magic Kingdom into one day. So we always try and do 2 days. I actually initially had no Animal Kingdom days built because I was like, they don't really care, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I told my mom on the night really at Epcot, I was like, it feels weird to be staying at Animal Kingdom and not go to Animal Kingdom.
Yeah.
We decided to park out. So we started in the morning, Magic Kingdom. We probably got there. Of course, I have very high aspirations to get there when it opens. That does not happen ever. Probably like 8:45. I think
Well,
I
that's
ended at
pretty
8. I mean, for us, that was great.
Mm-hmm.
And we did Genie Plus. I think our first ride for Genie Plus was at like 9:30. So by the time we got there, we actually got to do a ride or two before our first Genie, which was great. You know, the earlier you get there, the more things you'll get to do without the Genie.
Mm-hmm.
But once you start to get around 10 o'clock, you want that Genie.
Yeah, for sure. So what were the rides y'all did?
So the first day we did when we got there, I think our first ride with Genie was Jungle Cruise. So we kind of went over in that area just to stay kind of nearby, and we did the flying carpets with Aladdin, and then the wait time for Splash Mountain was very low. I think it was like, I don't know, 30 minutes.
Oh, wow.
35 minutes. And my daughter had never ridden it. She hadn't been tall enough. So we convinced her, we're like, you are going to love it. She was very hesitant. So my parents took her to Splash Mountain Lodge and my son on Pirates. And they both kind of ended around the same time. And then we did Jungle Cruise and Haunted Mansion. Did one more that day. Oh my goodness. The Carousel.
Mm-hmm.
And then by then it was lunchtime. We did Columbia Harbor House, because their lobster roll is so good. So good. I think about it every time I go. And then we hopped to Animal Kingdom. So we did, maybe 5 or 6 rides that morning, which in the span of like 4.5 hours was pretty good.
That's really good, especially with little kids. It's not like you can just drag them around.
Yeah, and eating. And so, yeah, then we hopped over to Animal Kingdom probably right around 2 o'clock. I think we left the parks around 1:30. And so by the time we got to Animal Kingdom, it was about 2. So
did your daughter like Splash Mountain?
She loved it.
Yay.
Loved it. I kind of peer pressured her into it. I was like, well, all of your friends have done it that have come. And she, of course, then wanted to do it.
Yeah.
And I think what the hesitation was that she was going to get wet.
Mm-hmm.
But she did it. And my son and I actually got to the bridge overpass where you can watch them right as she came down.
Oh, that's so fun.
We went and met them at the exit, and she had the biggest smile on her face, and I was like, what did you think? And she's like, I loved it. I was trying to tell you, like, that's just one of those rides you're going to love, I promise.
Yeah, that's so fun.
And the weather was great for it, so we weren't, freezing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what was the weather like while y'all were there, since it was December?
It was honestly perfect. I didn't expect it to be. It was warm, but it wasn't hot, which was my fear. Was like, it's either going to be freezing cold, or it's going to be so hot and miserable. Because in Orlando, you just never know. Like, you just don't know what you're going to get. It's like Louisiana. It was great. I mean, it was probably in the mid to high 70s, which, can it was honestly great.
Yeah, that's like perfect theme park weather.
Yeah, I had like a tank top on every day. I always brought a light sweater, but I never really needed it.
Mm-hmm.
So it was great.
Yeah, that sounds perfect.
Yes.
So did y'all ride the bus over to Animal Kingdom?
We did. We rode the bus from Magic Kingdom to Animal Kingdom. And once we got there, oh my goodness, I can't even, like, it was all a blur because maybe not my best choice to park hop with little kids on that day after a whirlwind of Magic Kingdom. We did A Bug's Life, and my daughter cried hysterically, which was honestly entertaining because I can remember being little and doing it, and doing Honey, I Shrunk the Kids when it used to have a similar, like, 4D ride, and hating it. I remember crying hysterically. She, too, cried, did not like it, didn't like the bugs coming out at her, and, like, all the extra things. I laughed because it was one of those, like, full circle moments.
Yes.
That you have where I was like, that was me. That was me. I did not. My son is, like, loving it. He's like, this is great. There's bugs all over me. But we did that. We did the safari. The safari was really why we went more than anything else. She's not tall enough for Everest. And the park closed at 7 that day, and we were supposed to have dinner reservations at 6:30 back at the hotel. So I knew that we weren't going to get to do everything anyway.
Mm-hmm.
We really went for the safari. We did get a Genie. Lightning Lane 4, which was great. So we probably waited, oh my gosh, 10 minutes before we were on.
That's so good.
Was the fastest I've ever done it, even previously with fast passes, which was great. And we attempted to do the Lion King show because I'm so happy it's back, and I thought they would love it. And it just, the timing of the shows and when we were, like, passing through did not line up.
Mm-hmm.
But we mostly just kind of, like, walked around, looked at the animals, grabbed a snack. I don't think we did any other rides. I think those were the only 2 we did.
Mm-hmm.
I am having to come around to Animal Kingdom. It's not that I don't love it. I do. I think it's great. I just, with our kids, we haven't really spent enough time in it. I think it's a focus for our next trip. Is really, like, spend a whole day. Because there is so much to see and do in Animal Kingdom.
Yeah, and I personally feel like Animal Kingdom is kind of better with older kids because it's so big, it's so spread out, and a lot of the rides are kind of geared for older kids. Like, my older kids loved it, and it wasn't over, like, I don't know, they really understood the purpose of it, and so it was, like, this last year was better for us than the first time we went when they were younger.
I agree. I think it's, you have to be so tall to do, like, Everest and the really good Avatar rides and even, like, Palo River Rapids, which wasn't even open when we went. It was closed for refurbishment, and so it was, like, even the things that they could do were very minimal. And it is a big park, and there are animals everywhere that you can see and interact, and learn about. But it's just, even to get from, like, Asia to Dino Land, because I'm sure my 2-year-old would have loved Dino Land.
Yeah.
I'm like, can't ride dinosaur, so do I really want to go over there where I'm like, you can't actually ride anything?
Right.
So I'm excited for a few trips from now to really spend time. In Animal Kingdom, it's just, with little kids, it's harder. It's kind of like Epcot. It's got its great things, and then it's got a lot of things that they're just not quite there yet.
Yep, for sure.
Yeah.
So where was your dinner reservation at?
So it was supposed to be at Sana. Yes. And for some reason, I made all of our dining.
Mm-hmm.
And I was with my parents, I was like, I made all these reservations. Don't worry about it. I'm not sure where my mind was when I was making the reservation, because when I pulled up the menu that morning, I was like, nobody's going to eat any of this. And I showed it to my mom, and she's like, why did you book this? I was like, I don't know. Because it is supposed to be an amazing restaurant, and I am sure it is. But maybe not for little kids. And even, like, I showed it to my husband. He's like, I don't know what I would order.
Mm-hmm.
I think if you're in the mindset of really trying new food and trying, like, immersing yourself in the African culture and flavors, it looked amazing. But we just, I'm not confident that we're going to succeed at this restaurant.
Yeah.
The concierge of the club, they took care of it. It was fantastic. And we literally ate dinner at the club.
That's
like,
so nice.
Snacks and foods. It was just, you know, and I looked back at the menu again, like, last week. I was like, it really does look amazing.
Mm-hmm. But
I'm just not sure what I was thinking. I think I would have made it for, like, it was just my husband and I.
Yeah.
Just the adults. But we're not going to fight with little kids at a nice restaurant over food.
We went there and it is amazing. But my daughter, she ate nothing. She ate the dessert.
That's what I figured was going to happen, was that they would just not eat anything.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know that that's really the vibe I'm feeling tonight.
Right.
They argue about, I don't want to eat this, or you just, like, sit there, but you don't want to sit there. So I'm glad we didn't go, but I do want to go back and try it when I can go just as adults.
For sure.
Appreciate it.
It's so good.
So I think that's why I made it, because everybody was, like, raving about it.
Yeah.
And I was like, and it's at our property, so that's easy. No. We left the kids with my mom and my dad, and my husband and I went back to Epcot to see the fireworks. So it worked out.
Oh, that's nice.
Yes. Silver linings.
Yeah. Did y'all ride the bus over there?
We did. We rode the bus back to Epcot. Literally, I think the fireworks were at 9:45, and we caught the bus at 8:55. We got very lucky with bus transport this trip. We never waited. Every time we walked out the front of the hotel, the bus we needed was there. Every time we walked out of the parks, the bus we needed was there. We got very lucky.
That's like a miracle.
It honestly, by the third night, my dad was like, do you have, like, some special phone number? Like, you're calling on? I was like, nope. I don't know what's happening. We've never caught buses like this. We've always, you almost always will catch one at your ideal time. But usually you've got to wait, like, around. Like, a bus comes and you're just not going to get on it.
Right.
Oh, every time.
That's amazing.
It was great.
So what'd y'all think about the fireworks?
Oh my gosh. I could watch the harmonious fireworks at Epcot every day of my life. They were incredible. I mean, I was, like, blown away. My dad is in the event production industry, and so he's constantly working with, like, LED screens and staging, and he was like a kid in a candy store. He was like, this is amazing. I mean, it was just the LED projections, the water features, the fireworks, lighting up all of the countries. Like, it was amazing. 10 out of 10. Great job, Disney. Good upgrade.
That's so good to hear.
Impressed.
Where did y'all stand to watch it?
We were right in front of Canada.
Okay.
Yeah. After walking that day and doing 2 parks and dealing with kids and trying to get them to bed before we left, I was just kind of like, if you see a spot, that's where we're standing. Mm-hmm. And I tried to explain to my husband, of course, he's been multiple times now with me. He was like, why are you worried about it? It's 45 minutes from now. I'm like, people started lining up and finding their spots like an hour ago. And he just stared at me. And when we finally got to the countries, he was like, oh my God, there's so many people camped out. I was like, I tried to tell you.
Yeah.
If people take the firework viewing seriously, they want their spot, they want a good one, and they're going to go get their dinner like an hour and a half before, and then they're going to go sit on the ground and eat it. And that is exactly what happened.
Yeah.
But we got a spot with, like, a little table.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we got very lucky finding a spot, but I was like, first spot you see, you stand there.
Yeah.
And for the next 45 minutes.
Yeah, especially for Harmonious, I hear it's like they really are camping out because you kind of have to get a good spot or you're going to miss part of the effects.
It was like, it's not just this fireworks show that's happening back in the castle where you can see it from wherever. It's like the way that the video projection on the screens is happening, you really do need to be able to see them.
Yeah.
To get the whole story. And so, yeah, the spot, I actually went on a mission to get a drink to watch the show. Mm-hmm. I walked the entire World Showcase in 15 minutes. I was like trekking. I meant business.
Yeah.
But I kept looking like at every country. I was like, oh, would this be a better spot? Wait. And I do, there were a few places where I was like, this is a good spot. Canada actually worked out very well. I'm glad that's where we stood. But yeah, there were a few spots I was like, this isn't as beneficial if you're not at that spot in the park.
Yeah.
But overall, I mean, the show was just so good. So good.
That's so fun. I can't wait to see it. And after that, did y'all just go back to the resort?
Went back to the resort, passed out.
Yeah.
I was like, couldn't do it. I was gone with the wind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a very busy day.
It was a very busy day. I think we averaged like 25,000 steps. I was on my phone before I went to bed, and I was like, oh, I'm not going to be able to walk tomorrow.
That's crazy.
Totally worth it, though.
Yes. All right. So your third day, where did y'all visit?
Hollywood Studios. We started off, I thought I had made a Genie reservation, Lightning Lane reservation for Tower of Terror. I don't know if I didn't or if we missed it, but it didn't work. So we ended up just skipping it and going to the Lightning McQueen Racing Academy. It had like a 5-minute wait. Kids loved it. It's inside. Got our faces painted. Went to, my heart was so happy. We went to Beauty and the Beast. When they brought it back and announced that it was coming back, I was like so excited because my daughter's 5.5, and we've been going since she was 2, and it's basically never been there. Like, it was there when she was 2. I was like, we went for a day on her 2nd birthday and we went to Magic Kingdom. So then by the next time we went, it just wasn't happening. Like, she was little, she wasn't going to sit through it, and then COVID, and I was like, but it's my favorite. It's so good. It's so fun. And so it coming back, I was so excited. So we went and saw that. And then we had a Genie for Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railroad, which so cute for kids. It's really, I loved the movie ride. I loved it.
I know.
It was something I looked forward to when I would go. So I had a little moments. But it was a great ride. So we hit that up, and then we had lunch at Hollywood and Vine for the character lunch.
And that's buffet, right?
No.
Oh, it's not.
It's just like order whatever.
Oh, okay.
I think like 4 entrees. It was okay. It was okay. It was a fun character experience because you really got Mickey and Minnie and Goofy kind of and Pluto, not one-on-one, but a little bit more so than some of the other restaurants right now. And they do a good job of, spacing tables out and all of that. It wasn't maybe my favorite, like food-wise, but experience-wise was great.
Like what type of food was it?
So American, I guess. So like one of the options, because we were there for the holidays, was like a typical Thanksgiving dinner. So turkey, stuffing, which is what my dad got. My husband and my mom both got a skirt steak situation. And then I had a pork loin. I will say my pork loin with some spicy mustard situation and grits was amazing. It was so good. Everyone else's was kind of middle of the road.
Yeah.
So yeah, food-wise, it was just okay. But experience-wise was great. And they were very patient with like the kids, and which is always nice. It's always helpful at the restaurants when the cast members are patient and calm and know that like they might have a meltdown.
Absolutely.
Outside and doing stuff all day. So then we ended up, my husband has been adamant about riding Rise of the Resistance. We've never successfully gotten into the virtual queue. So he was like, you will buy this at 7 a.m. We will ride it. It is happening. So I think we had a 1 o'clock rise. And this was a great Genie moment. So we had a 1 o'clock arrival. So you can go arrive between 1 and 2. I think we got there at like 1:15 and it was closed. And so I went up to the cast member and I was like, well, I paid for this. So now what? I mean, do I get a refund? Like, how does this work?
Mm-hmm.
And she basically explained, like, if the ride opens in the next, like, 10 minutes, then yes, you can still ride it between 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm.
Use your pass. If it doesn't, and it opens, say, at, like, 1:40, well, that's not enough time. You might have been across the park at that point. Then they will extend your lightning lane until the park closes, and you can just come back anytime you want before the park closes and ride the ride. And I was like, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Great.
That's great.
So we took my son and did Toy Story Mania with Buzz Lightyear.
Mm-hmm.
Well, my parents took my daughter to the other Star Wars, the Millennium Falcon.
Mm-hmm.
We took her in January and made both my husband and I nauseous.
Yeah.
Because she's 5. She wants to drive. Well, that's not a great idea.
Yeah.
So we convinced my parents to take her. And we did Toy Story. And by the time we got off of both of those rides, which was about the same time because we did not have a lightning lane for either,
Mm-hmm.
I think they were both a 45-minute wait. And we genuinely probably waited 45 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
By the time we got off, rides had reopened, which was great. And so we went on. We were probably on and off in 30 minutes.
That's amazing.
And then had drinks at Oga's.
Did he like rides?
Yes. I'm not a giant Star Wars person. I've
Mm-hmm.
never seen any of them. I can, tell you a few names.
Uh-huh.
The ride was very cool. The interactive part of it is fun in the
Mm-hmm.
beginning. I asked my husband what he thought because he was the one that really wanted it. And he was like, yeah, it was cool. So I'm not really sure.
Yeah.
Overall, I think they did do a good job. I think if I was more into Star Wars, it'd probably been really cool.
Right.
But as a ride overall, it had a lot of nice elements. It wasn't just like a ride. Like you did get to interact. You get to see things and have a couple different drops and turns. And yeah, it was cool. I think that we'll ride it again.
Did your little one get to ride it?
He did not. In hindsight, I think we might have been able to pass him off.
Mm-hmm.
He would have loved it.
Yeah, I kind of get surprised they don't let little, it's not.
Well, and I will say that was one of the things because I had bought it for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
For, 5 people because my son didn't have a ticket.
Mm-hmm.
And so I bought it for all the adults. And my daughter, because I was like, oh, well, he doesn't need a Genie Plus. He's just going to get to go on. And then it was the height. And I was like, oh, well, he's not really tall enough. But then once we got off, I looked at it and I was like, I don't get the height part of this.
Yeah, I don't either.
It's not, there's nothing where he could, fall out, get hurt.
Right.
Yeah, I probably could have, tried to sneak him on had I understood the ride better. And, what was gonna happen. But it is what it is.
Yeah, it's hard when you don't know because you don't want to sneak your kid on a ride that is traumatizing.
Well, and then that's the thing is it's cast member dependent. You might get a cast member who's like, oh, yeah, they're fine. And then you might get one who's like, no, they're not tall enough.
Yeah.
Or the first part you get to, oh, yeah, they're tall enough. And then you get all the way to the front of the ride and you want to measure them again. And you're like, well, I'm glad I waited in line for that.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah. But it was good. I asked my daughter what she thought. She liked Millennium Falcon better. I don't know if that's because it moves around more, but she did like it. So overall, it was a success. I'm glad we did it after not being able to get in for years.
Yeah, I feel like everyone kind of has to try it out at some point.
Oh, yeah. I think it's just one of those rides that you're like, well, I have to say I did it.
Yeah.
Now I can say I did it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. So y'all headed over to Oga's after?
We did. We went to Oga's. I was so excited about it. We had never gotten reservations. It looked so cool. It was not the highlight of our trip. It was very hi, welcome in. You have 45 minutes, sit down, order, and then you gotta go.
Yeah.
Which I get because it's really a bar. You don't need to sit there for an hour and a half.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't like the best welcome.
Yeah.
The drinks were fine. I think I had like really built it up in my head based on pictures and whatever. I just like Rise, I can say I did it. It was cool. You know, they did a great job with the decorations and really making it feel like you were in a spaceship in outer space. But past that, I did it.
Yeah, I feel like online hypes it up more than it actually is.
It very much does.
Yeah.
I actually had a client call me and she's like, I really want to get in the Ogas. Is it worth it? And I was like, I mean, I think that worth it is dependent on each person. I was like, I did it. I probably won't do it again kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it's definitely hyped up on pictures and social media and little boomerangs and, you know, go do it, have a fizzy drink, and then you're done.
Yeah. That is true. Get your lips on them and then leave.
Exactly. Yeah.
So what'd y'all do after Ogas?
Oh my goodness. What else? We went and rode another ride. What did we do? We went to the Muppet Show. And then I think that was it. I think we kind of called it a day after that because our Ogas was at 5:30 or 5:45. So by the time we got out, we went and did Muppets, and it was like 7:30. And so we were kind of like, let's go. The park's going to close in like an hour. They're getting over it, hungry. We did spend quite some time trying to convince my daughter to do Slinky Dog. And the peer pressure that worked with Splash Mountain did not work. She would not do it.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'd never ridden it. Last time we went and she rode it, she rode with my husband. I didn't get a chance to ride it. I was like, come on, I want to ride. She did not.
Yeah. I think that's hard too because you can see it. So it's more intimidating.
Yes, I think that was her reason for not doing it.
Yeah.
Was we were somehow able to distract her enough last time that she didn't really notice like how fast it is or that it almost goes upside down.
Yeah.
But she could notice it this time. She's like, yeah, I'm not going to do that. No, thank you.
I know that indoor rides are kind of better. You can convince it's easier to convince your kids to go on them.
Yes, because you can't see it. Yeah. It can't convince them that they don't want to be there.
Right.
It's too late, and then you're already on.
Yep.
Yeah, she was not going for it.
So what were the crowds like today at Hollywood Studios?
They were actually really not bad. I mean, I think the only ride that I noticed a substantial line for was Rise for the standby line. Mm-hmm. And that's normal. I mean, it just is what it is. If you don't want to pay for it at this point, you're going to stand in line for 2 hours. And that's just how it is since it opened. But overall, I actually didn't feel like Hollywood Studios was overly crowded. And it even rained at one point, and we got under the overhang at the Frozen show. Mm-hmm. And, I mean, even then, there weren't that many people huddled in our little area. I thought the crowds were totally manageable. I didn't feel overwhelmed or anything like that once we got there.
That's great.
Yeah. And I think all the ride times, whether you had Genie or a standby, were pretty standard. Like I said, I think Tower of Terror was like 40 minutes in the morning. Rock and Roller Coaster, I looked at one point for my dad and my husband to ride, and I think the wait was like 65 minutes for a standby. But again, on Rock and Roll, like that's normal. That's kind of a normal time, even in the middle of the day. So, yeah, I think just like Epcot the first day, it felt a little more like a normal Disney day, but not so bad. Mm-hmm. There were so many people. It was overwhelming.
Yeah, that's good.
I was satisfied with the crowds.
Did y'all do anything once you got back to the resort?
We kind of walked around. They have a guy in the lobby that like whittles wood.
Oh, wow.
Into animals. Uh-huh. So kind of like just sat and watched him for like 30 minutes. turn a piece of wood into a giraffe. It was fascinating, just like with a little pocket knife. It was so cool.
That's
and kind of
crazy.
like talk to you about it. We actually grabbed dinner that night from their little store. I don't really know how to describe that. Each resort has, you know, like a little quick service style. And so we actually ordered dinner from there that night and ate dinner on the balcony and watched animals. Because we kind of somehow timed it with the dinner time for the animals. So there was a truck going around leaving hay and stuff. So we ate dinner with the animals, and it was very fun. And just kind of like, by the end of day 3, I was like, y'all need to go to bed early. We've really, really run this as hard as we could.
Yeah.
Let's try and simmer down a little bit.
That sounds so nice. I love that.
It was good. They needed it. We needed it. You know, and it was fun to sit on the balcony and watch the giraffes eat while you're eating a salad. Like, it was cool.
Yeah, that's very cool. Okay, and we are at y'all's last park day.
So sad.
I know, it's always so sad. Where did y'all go?
We went to Magic Kingdom and got there probably 9 because I knew that we were going to stay. That was going to be the night we stayed to see the fireworks at Magic Kingdom. And I knew that they weren't until 8:30. And I was like, we're not going to be rushing this morning to be in the park for 12 hours.
Yes.
So we probably got there around 9 and grabbed coffee at Starbucks. You know, just kind of like hung out, visited the Emporium. We met Mickey and Minnie. Well, we met Mickey at Town Hall. It was my son's first time. It was very cool. My daughter like could have cared less. She had us sort of like, I've already met Mickey. Whatever. And I was like, then you don't need to meet him again. If you just want him to meet him, like. But of course, when it came time, we had to meet Mickey.
Right.
That was fun. I always love making that like our first stop because it's right when you walk in, and typically the wait is like 15 minutes, 20 minutes. It goes by pretty quickly, especially now when you can't really, they're not interacting as much.
Right.
But it was fun. It was fun to be able to really go in, see them, wait, take a picture. So that was actually our first stop. Then we stopped in the Emporium, grabbed some coffee, and headed to, where did we go first? To the driving track.
The Speedway?
Yes, the Speedway. They loved it. They drove, my son drove our car.
Oh, that's so cute.
It was so something. I'm pretty sure I have whiplash. I love those cars. Again, it's one of those things from when I was little. I remember doing this when I was little. It's been there forever. So sad if they change it.
Oh, yeah.
And then we went on the we went on Dumbo. And we went on the Barnstormer, which was my son's official first roller coaster.
Oh, that's cute.
And I was like, well, because we bought 7 a.m., bought Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. And I was like, I'm going to buy it for everyone. And we're going to try and stuff his shoes with some toilet paper or something. Like, we're going to get him on this ride. So, but I figured, he's never ridden a roller coaster. Barnstormer is a great intro roller coaster. It still goes pretty fast. There's one, like, big drop. We got stuck.
Oh, no.
And oddly enough, I've always gotten, not always, in the past, I've been on trips where on a ride, it pauses. And they come over and they're like, it's technical difficulty, whatever. And then 2 seconds later, like, it's starting back up. I've never had to be taken off of a ride. And as strange as it sounds, it's really one of those Disney like dreams. I'm like, I want to get stuck and I want to have to be taken off.
Yeah.
I want to see how to get in it. Like, I want to know. Downside, this is an all outdoor roller coaster. You're not going to see anything. But we did get stuck. The cast members were great. They came over and entertained us while they were waiting for like the piece to open the gates. And then on our way up, gave everyone on the ride a Genie, like an extra lightning lane pass.
Oh, nice.
which was like so great. And you can use it on, I think, anything except for Mine Train and Space Mountain, which was fine because I was like, well, Mine Train we already have.
Mm-hmm.
Space Mountain, even my daughter's not tall enough to ride, so we're not gonna worry about that.
Mm-hmm.
But it was so nice. So just like I had an extra, since you can only really book one at a time right now.
Mm-hmm.
Now I just book two at a time. So that was fun. We did. Oh my gosh, my husband got sick partway through the trip, and he's the only person that will do teacups. So we had a little meltdown about the teacups because nobody's riding that with you. Daddy's the only one, and he's out of commission. So no teacups.
Yeah.
I cannot do it. I'm sure when I was little, I loved it. I just look at him now, and it makes me sick just looking at you. Looking at people doing it. No, thank you.
Yeah.
We did the princesses at Fairy Tale Hall and met Rapunzel and Tiana, which was very fun for my daughter. She's like, Tiana, I am also from New Orleans.
Oh, that's so cute.
She was very happy. She's like, I also eat beignets. Very funny, very cute. We did Haunted Mansion again. My daughter loves it. And my husband, oh my gosh, he must have taken her on something. Splash Mountain again. She wanted to go on Splash Mountain because we went 2 days ago. Loved it. So he took her on Splash Mountain, and we took my son to the Monsters, Inc. Last week. He slept the whole time. It was great. I love that as a break opportunity, actually, and that's kind of what we were like hoping he would fall asleep. I tell everyone, like, it is a great break for kids because it's still interactive, and you know they're actively interacting with the crowd on what you're saying, and so that's fine. But you sit; it's a little bit dark. It's not as intense of a situation, and it gives the kids like a nice little calm down moment. So that was great.
That's really good advice.
And I did the same thing with People Mover and Carousel Progress.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that whole little area in Tomorrowland is like such a good break opportunity.
Yeah.
Because they have so many things. I mean, that's 3 things right there that are just calming, but they kids especially still feel like you're doing something.
Right.
2 of them are inside, so you're getting air conditioning for when it's hot or if it's raining.
Mm-hmm.
So we did both of those. I was like, they need to calm down.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
Both my kids love Carousel Progress. I mean, I have met people whose kids cannot stand it.
Mm-hmm.
They get 20 minutes of sitting still, watching robots. I love it. Nostalgia. I don't know. It's just...
I love it too.
Like, even when I'm on hold for clients, I'll like put my phone on speaker and kind of set it off to the side, and that song will come on. It's a Great Big Beautiful Tomorrow. And my daughter's like, that's from that. Yep, that is from that ride.
That's so cute.
But yeah, those are kind of our like break rides. So we probably did those midday to just calm them down.
Mm-hmm.
And then we did lunch at Pecos Bills, and just, I mean, I think I had like nachos. They had taco. I mean, easy little like grab and go Tex-Mex kind of style food. My daughter loves to eat there because she somehow remembers when she was 2, we went for one day. We went there for dinner and got her a bowl of mac and cheese, and the fireworks were about to start. And we like hustled to Main Street, and she sat on Main Street and ate her mac and cheese, but she can remember. She's like, the first time I went to Disney World, I ate mac and cheese on Main Street. So now she's obsessed with Pecos Bill because that's where we got the mac and cheese.
That's so cool she remembers that.
Yeah, oh my gosh. The first time she told me, she was probably like 3 and a half. It had been a year since we had gone, and she was watching a Disney movie, and the castle came on, the opening scene. She was like, I've been there. And I sat and I ate mac and cheese, and I just stared at her. I was like, what? How do you remember this?
That's amazing.
Numbers. So we did that. And then, by then it was pretty much time to attempt Mine Train. So We measured my son that morning. We walked past my train. I was like, can I just measure him real quick? Measured him. The guy was like, oh, he's good to go. And I told my husband, I was like, problem is, that guy's not going to be here later. It's going to be something else. So I will say, I do not recommend this. I'm not promoting this. I did put tissues in his shoes. I was like, we're going to put tissues in your shoes, and you're going to stand up as straight as possible, and we're going to ride this ride. Oh, they did not even look. We got in line, we scanned our lightning lane, and just walked straight through. Nobody even looked at him.
Oh, my gosh.
They get through one step. I was like, but they're going to check again when we get to the front. They are going to check him. And he made it.
Yay.
And the whole thing is we get on, and we're in the first row. Like, he is driving the train. So he gets in, and my husband sits down, and he looks at my husband. He goes, I ride a roller coaster with my hands up. And he threw both of his hands up and rode the entire roller coaster with his hands up. And he got off, and the second he got off, he was like, I do it again. I do it again.
Oh, my gosh.
Loved it. My daughter, we were, like, trying to convince her the whole day because she did not want to ride it. She hated it the first time she rode it.
Mm-hmm.
Cried. Never wanted to do it again. Peer pressure. And I was like, you're going to let a 2-year-old ride this and you're not going to ride it? She's like, fine. So she rides it. Same thing. She gets off. She's like, let's do it again. Things that can change in a year.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, she hated it 11 and a half months before that. And then she's like, I'm going to do it again. Let's do it again. So we ended up, after that, we went to dinner at the Crystal Palace. I have actually never eaten there. This is my first time. And it was really good. You know, we had dinner reservations, I think at 6:30. 6:30. Fireworks are going to be at 8:30. So I was like, this is enough time to eat dinner. And then find a spot for fireworks. And find a spot close enough to the gate where you can still see everything, but you can also, like, not get swept away in the crowds.
Mm-hmm.
Fireworks are over. My children had other ideas. We ate, and immediately they were like, I want to go on another ride. And I was like, well, let me just tell you. You can ride another ride, or you can see the fireworks, but I don't think you have time for both. Nope. We hiked our way back to the mine train. And I will say, when we got there, I said it was an hour wait. And I was like, you're going to see in line for an hour. They did not care. We were on and off of that ride in 30 minutes.
Oh, that's nice.
It was great. They rode it again at night, which is really fun. There are a handful of rides in each park, but especially like in Magic Kingdom, I love riding it at night because you get a really fun, different view of the park.
Yeah.
You're riding it and it's dark and everything is lit up. So it was fun to have ridden it during the day and then ride it again at night.
That is fun.
And we did end up getting to see the fireworks. So I was wrong. My daughter loves to tell me that. She's like, see that river. Like, you're right. You win. You win that one. Yeah, so we stayed until the park closed, and it was quite the day.
So where did y'all stand to watch the fireworks?
I will say, we did not stand in the best place. So my husband and I took our kids. My parents went and found a spot. So my parents got to stand like in front of the Christmas tree on Main Street with like a direct view down, and mostly because we had heard that they had timed the projections to come down Main Street along the buildings with the fireworks. So that, they really wanted to see that whole presentation. We ended up like on the back side of the buildings on Main Street.
Okay.
It was not you could see the fireworks and you could see some of the projections onto the castle. Couldn't see anything, obviously, coming down Main Street because we were on the back side of it. Mm-hmm. And then we did get to see Tinkerbell. It's, like, so sweet and cute and magical, and my daughter loves to see her fly.
Yeah.
I'm glad she's back. I wouldn't recommend. It wasn't a fireworks viewing spot that I would recommend, and so I have, like, almost no opinion on the fireworks show. And I loved the pre-pandemic fireworks. Like, loved that show. Mm-hmm. I don't have a great opinion on this one because I didn't really get to see the whole experience,
What did your parents say from where they were standing?
They said it was great. They said it was very cool how it came down the street and it timed it with the music and what was going on with the castle. They both, my dad, who at that point had seen Epcot as well, was like, Harmonious was better. But it's a different animal.
Right.
The fireworks show at Magic Kingdom and the fireworks at Epcot are not the same. They're not trying to be the same. It's just different elements, at each one.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess what you're into more. But he said they were good. It was very cool to tie it all in together.
Mm-hmm.
But that's Disney's saying, we're going to do it better than everybody else, including ourselves.
That's great. Yeah, I've heard Harmonious is a better show. Like, I kind of think that's the consensus.
Yeah, and that's what I had heard. I will say that's what I heard going in, which is also I didn't really make, like, this big argument to see the fireworks when they were like, I'd rather go ride. I was like, okay, because I've heard this one isn't, not that it's bad, but I've heard that in comparison to what it was,
yeah,
not as good. One of those things where, like, if you miss it, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
It was fun to see fireworks going off. They loved it, but I wasn't, like, distraught that I didn't have a good seat.
Right. For sure.
Yeah.
So what'd y'all do after fireworks?
Definitely went straight back to the hotel and crashed.
Was the bus crazy after the fireworks, like waiting for the bus?
Normally I would be like, yeah, we waited for an hour. But somehow we were the first ones in the Animal Kingdom line.
That's crazy.
I'm telling you, I don't know how we did it. Like, magical magic was happening. First ones on the bus. It was great. And we waited for like 5 minutes.
Oh
First one line queue, bus got there like 5 minutes later. Which I did. It added to making my decision. The only thing about Animal Kingdom for me that is like a downer is it is far from everything except for Animal Kingdom. And so your bus rides are longer. They're not long, but they're longer than riding from other resorts, or if you're used to staying at a resort with multiple transportation options. Animal Kingdom is like maybe not the choice for you if you really don't like the buses.
Right.
So I do feel, thankfully, we got lucky with the buses, or I maybe would have had a more sour taste in my mouth about staying there.
Mm-hmm.
For Magic Kingdom, it's probably a 15-minute ride once you're on the bus. And, for some people, that's a really long time.
Mm-hmm.
And when you have little kids who are, like, melting out, 15 or 20 minutes on a bus is, like, and having to wear a mask and the whole thing. But, yeah, it was not bad. Got very lucky.
That's awesome.
But I was like, we have to wait here for a long time and then take a long bus ride and then walk all the way to the room. It's going to be like 10:30 before we get back. And it is going to be terrible.
Yeah.
But it wasn't. It was great.
That's great. And then next day, y'all just drove home?
We did. And that I feel very lucky that we got back to the room earlier because we woke up and because it was going to be, it's an 8.5-hour drive on a map. So with 2 kids, it's like a 12-hour drive.
Yeah.
I gotta go potty. I'm hungry. I need to get out of the car. The whole thing. Like, well, if we leave at 8, then we'll get home at like 7 with the time change.
Yeah.
But it was, it's worth it. And again, benefit of club is we just went straight upstairs, got them breakfast, grabbed a few snacks for the road, and got in the car and left.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Easy.
So I do have a couple of questions.
Yes.
Okay, first one is, when you bought the Genie Plus ride, so like Seven Dwarfs and Rise of the Resistance, did you get to pick which time that you were going to ride it, or was it like an option? Or did
I, on the agency side, we got to watch this video of like how it works, and I did that. I will say it is a hands-on learning experience. Yes. Okay. So either one, but we'll take Rise because I did that one first. You kind of know the hot rides, and that's why those rides cost extras, because Disney knows people are going to pay for them because they want to ride them. For Rise, I had my Apple Watch like counting seconds down and like constantly was pressing refresh. I was like, when it turned 7 a.m., I'm getting, like, this is what I'm getting.
Mm-hmm.
When I got it, it told me like 8 a.m., 9 a.m., 10 a.m. I mean, it had every hour.
Okay.
By the time I clicked, like, I was going to pick like 10 a.m. So we're just going to get it over with.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to the next screen. It was like, oh, no, sorry, it's gone. Now you can pick these 4 times left. And I was like, it is like 7 o'clock and 30 seconds. How am I already, how did I miss this?
That's crazy.
So, yeah, it gives you all the times that you, and you just pick whatever you want. But by the time you get to, like, the pay screen, your time could be gone. And it wants you to pick another time. Or now you're, like, sold out, and it's just, you're in trouble.
Wow.
Yeah, that was definitely, like, a very interesting learning experience. Because the other ones, like, at Magic Kingdom, my first day, maybe we didn't buy, I guess I didn't buy any the first day. But it was just one of those things where I was like, but I've been here for, like, it's only 30 seconds past 7. How, you just, it's that moment where you forget how many other people are also trying to do the same thing you're doing.
Right.
But yeah, as soon as you got on, you could pick whatever you wanted. But by the time you get to that pay screen, that might be gone.
Gotcha.
So I call all of my clients, I'm like, have a couple, just be flexible.
Mm-hmm.
Like, don't think I can only ride this at 10 a.m. Because you may get to that pay screen, it's gone, and now you need to ride it at 4. You know, and that's okay. You just kind of change your day around.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was bizarre. It was bizarre.
That's interesting. I was mostly wondering if you were like going to park hop, so you had to ride it later in the day, but I guess those are probably easier times to get than early ones.
Yeah, I think that, and I was fine. Like, we got ours at 1 o'clock, and that was fine with me.
Mm-hmm.
I think that the early morning ones are probably gone the fastest. Yeah. Because there are also people who are doing rope drops. So they're already, like, standing at the gate of Hollywood Studios, for example, at 7 a.m., you know, and so they want to just go straight there and get it done. I do think that picking, because, you know, the ones that you're paying for don't count in your, like, one at a time frame.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, like, you can kind of be a little bit more flexible with those. So
right.
Just, if you can't get it until 4 o'clock, and, you know, unless you were planning on park hopping, then just grab it and then kind of start your day elsewhere. Park hopping definitely would be tricky, for sure. And I even looked into the day we were going to park hop to Animal Kingdom, into the other Avatar one, because we had never ridden it before. But by the time I, like, thought about it, it was already sold out, and then the wait time was 200 minutes. And I was like, I don't need to ride it that hard.
Yeah.
Be okay.
I bet those big ones probably sell out really fast.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think I got back on at, like, 7:03 just to look, and everything for Rise was gone.
That's so crazy.
It was just mind-blowing to me.
It's like the boarding pass situation all over again, except people are paying this time.
Exactly. And that's what I told my husband. I was like, it is, I mean, a fight to the death, just like it was before. It's just now you're financially invested in it.
Yeah.
So more, like, you know, intense.
For sure.
Yeah. It was, you know, you do get an option until you don't, kind of thing.
That's good to know. Good to know. Okay, and I always ask everyone, what was your least magical moment of the trip?
Probably, and it has nothing to do with Disney, but probably my husband getting sick, because in your mind, you're like, I'm in my kids. I have my parents. Like, I can totally do this. No, like, there needs to be, like, 2 people for every 1 kid.
Yeah.
When they're little. So that definitely kind of put a damper on it, but it had nothing to do with Disney whatsoever. I think if you were looking at it from, like, that angle, the least magical part, honestly, would be the learning curve of Genie. I think that they really tried with Genie, and from my understanding, that's something that's been happening. Disneyland Paris, like, you pay for certain rides there. But I think, you know, the idea of having to pay for a ride when I've already paid to be in the park isn't my idea of fun.
Yeah, for
It
sure.
takes a little bit. It just makes you feel like you're getting a little gouged for everything. I can get it from a business standpoint from COVID. They're really trying to make up for all the time that was lost. I get that. But it does, you already paid a premium to go because it's not inexpensive.
Right.
And then to be told like, oh, well, this ride is $15 per person, even though you've already paid $15 per person. It's not like, it's definitely not magical. It doesn't give you sparkly feelings towards it.
Yes.
Something that, if anything, it would be on the Disney side of it is the whole process of Genie.
Mm-hmm.
I see the benefit, but I also don't like paying for it.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I like that you mentioned like your husband getting sick, because I think also people go on these vacations and they don't even think about that, but that's happened to us, or someone gets sick, and yeah, like there's nothing you can do about it.
Oh yeah, and I mean it
just happens.
And my husband is a physician, and I was like, do you need to like go urgent care? What? We need to do something. You need to rally. So how do we make this happen? Because this is not like a beach trip where we're just like chilling, hanging out. This is like a lot.
Right.
To do. And especially when you have little kids. So, yeah, it was definitely not ideal.
Mm-hmm.
Not sick from Disney, but he was sick in Disney.
Oh, it's no fun.
To be fair, he perked up at the third day. He was like, I'm just going to do it. We're going to do it. I'm going to make it happen.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, that's so unfortunate. Okay, what was your most magical moment?
And this is going to sound so stereotypical, but probably my son really getting to experience it. We have so many moments where I'm like, my daughter had so much fun one time because she's older. She had 2.5 years, almost 3 years before he was born. We brought her to Disney World on her second birthday. Like, that's crazy. That's another level of crazy. He'll never get that because she'll always be there. She'll always be around, And as an older kid, I can't tell her, like, well, we're going to take him to Disney World by himself, but you can't come. So getting, we brought him, we actually went the week before shutdown for COVID.
Wow.
He was like 13, 14 months old. So he doesn't remember going. He doesn't, that was about her. And getting to go back this time and seeing him, like, know who Mickey Mouse is and recognize characters and, like, just have so much fun was, I think, the highlight. Because I got to do that with her. And we got to see it at a similar age with her and how exciting it was. And so getting to do it with him was, like, great. I mean, it really made me happy. He definitely did better than we thought. I told my husband, I was like, I would give him like a 7 out of 10.
That's awesome.
On this trip because he is wild. I mean, he is all boy. Where I was expecting it to be like a 4.5 out of 10. Like, I had very low expectations.
Uh-huh.
And he did great, and I loved it. I loved getting to see him enjoy that, like, time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you know what I did? And now that I'm thinking about it, we did ride the monorail from Magic Kingdom to Epcot to catch the bus to Animal Kingdom to buy more time, and that was awesome. To add that to the magical list because my daughter's never ridden it, my son's never ridden it, and getting to ride a train in the sky was like, they loved it. They
That's
loved
so
seeing
cool.
everything from like a higher perspective and feeling like they were in like space. It was so fun. It was so fun to see them experience something new at Disney together. It was something that neither one of them had done.
Mm-hmm.
And it was so fun. Again, and I think the monorail is like kind of like Speedway, kind of like Carousel Progress. It's like one of those nostalgia things that you can remember getting on when you were little and being so like impressed by. And then getting to see them do it was very cool.
That's so fun. You know, my teenagers still get excited to ride the monorail.
I think the monorail is great. I think it's like an underutilized transport mode.
Oh, for sure. It's like an attraction.
It really is. And I tell everyone that and the Skyliner.
Mm-hmm.
Like, y'all, those are 2 rides to kids. They're rides. And we actually used the Skyliner as a ride on our last trip. My daughter was like getting stir crazy in the hotel room, and we were at Riviera. And I was like, let's go ride the Skyliner. So we just rode. We rode to the entrance to Epcot, and we rode back. It was like, it's a ride to them.
Oh, yeah. It's so fun.
Yeah, it's great. I love both of them. I think that they are such great pieces of the parks and, you know, ways to get around and just, like, have extra fun.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
Yeah.
So do y'all have another Disney trip planned?
We are currently in discussions. I have a group of girlfriends. There's 6 of us, and together we have 14 kids. And for Mardi Gras, you either stay or you leave.
Yeah.
And all going to Disney.
Oh, that's fun.
And so I told my husband, I was like, I kind of want to bring just our daughter, because I'm not chasing 2 kids around Disney. Like, that's not going to happen. But I could do her, because by then she'll be almost 6. So I'm like, she's easy. So we might be going for a quick little, like, 2-day trip at the end of February. We're hashing out the details at the moment, which she loves telling people. She's like, I'm 5 and I've been to Disney World 4 times. Don't tell people that. And this will be number 5.
Yay! She's a lucky little girl.
She loves it, you know, and it makes me happy because I love it and my husband has grown to appreciate it.
Yeah.
Now she loves it. Like, it just, and like we were talking about at the very beginning, everything changes every time you go. There's something new to see. There's something new to eat at, like, the little stores and little shops and carts. And, you know, you can never finish Disney. There will always be something that you didn't try, didn't do, didn't see, you know. And I think it's great. I love it. You know, and love getting to see her remember, like, oh, in England, like, oh, well, that was Captain Hook and Peter Pan in the bushes last time, and now it's a teacup. And it's like those little things, like, yes, it changes. Like, it's magical.
Yeah.
You know, those flowers were purple yesterday and they're red today. It's middle of the night magic right there.
It's so cool. I love it too.
It is. It's great. So we might be back in 2 months. Yeah, we're definitely hashing it out this evening. We're going to see where it ends up.
Nice. Very cool. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show. I loved hearing your story, and I will put all your email and all your information if anyone needs any help planning their trip.
Yes, give me a call. I'll be more than happy to help.
I hope you enjoyed this show today. Thank you so much for listening. Check out our Instagram page at Disney Travel Tales to see pictures from Sarah's trip. If you're enjoying the show, the best way to support it is by leaving it a positive review on Apple Podcast or now on Spotify. Spotify is so easy to leave a review on. You don't have to write anything. You just click the stars. This really is so easy and it helps the show tremendously. Okay, I can't wait to talk next week. So until then, this is Jenny, and may all your Disney travel dreams become a reality.